Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is College Sports Revived, and I'm happy to have you guys back for another episode of the College Hoops 2K Legacy Mode series here on College Sports Revived, as our main man, Coach Carter, is ready to tip off Season 5 with his Fordham crew. This fifth year of the series is honestly the first time we've really had some expectations to reach, it feels like. Year 3 was our miraculous Cinderella run that nobody expected. Then Year 4's team was talented, but also one of the youngest teams in the country. But now, this young nucleus, they've played a full season together, our team unity is rising, and all in all, our run at the A10 title, and maybe even a run in March is what we're striving for and what's expected from us. As we all know though, the A10 championship is no easy feat. St. Louis is a top 5 preseason team this year, as we'll see the top 25 in just a matter of moments. And this might be the toughest schedule that we've pieced together in this series, starting with a road game up in State College. But being a champion is the hardest thing to do in sports, we all know that at this point, so we'll need to earn our keep no matter the expectations for us this season. Before we tip off Season 5, however, let's hop into the season preview show where the CBS crew will highlight the preseason top 25, the coaching changes around the country, and the top players in the nation heading into the 5th season of Fordham Ram Hoops. Hope you guys enjoy, everybody. Click the time at the bottom of the screen to skip ahead.
Hi, everyone. I'm Greg Dumble at the anchor desk with my partner Clark Kellogg, bringing you the 2K Sports Season Preview Show. These are the top 5 teams in college hoops as we begin the new season. The Kentucky Wildcats come in as the number 1 ranked team, followed by Texas, Louisville, Georgia Tech, and St. Louis. Anything jump out at you from those top 5 teams, Clark?
Sometimes the top players in the nation and the best teams in the nation aren't necessarily together at the top of the poll. But going into this season, we have some of the absolute best players playing on the marquee teams. That's really exciting to me, Greg.
Kentucky is in the catbird seat to start the season, sitting pretty in the number 1 spot. They're in one of the power conferences, Clark. You think they'll be able to withstand the tough schedule?
That'll work to their advantage, Greg, because they'll have been through so many battles by the time March rolls around, tournament pressure won't bother them at all.
St. Louis is the number 5 team. They lost a big piece of their team with the departure of last season's leading rebounder.
It's going to have to be a group effort on the boards for a little while until some of the younger big men get the confidence to hold their own game in and game out.
Here's the next group of teams in our preseason top 25. What's your impression of that set of teams?
We've seen plenty of future national champions come out of this group from the middle of the top 25. I'm not willing to say just yet whether that is going to happen again this year, but a few teams certainly have the potential.
How about this list?
This looks to me like the deepest preseason top 25 poll we've seen in years. I think there are teams even all the way back in this group that are legitimate national championship contenders.
There was no shortage of movement in the coaching ranks during the offseason. There before you are all the new coaching hires in college hoops. There were some intriguing moves made, that's for sure. We've come to the part of the show when we look at the top players in the nation and unveil the list of our preseason All-Americans. There before you are the 5 first-team All-Americans as we begin the season, and what a list it is.
Neighbors is the first player on the list for good reason. Feels like this guy's been playing college basketball forever. This will be his 4th year as a starter. But I still don't take him for granted, and I think this will be his best season of all of them. Bishop is simply a spectacular player. He's a former high school Mr. Basketball He was Florida's Mr. Basketball in high school. He's a hero in his home state, and he hasn't let those fans down. He's taken his game to the next level and improved as the competition has gotten stiffer.
Fuente
is one of my favorite players in the country. There's plenty to like about him as a player. He's got that deadly combination of smarts and physical skills that makes him so difficult to defend. A coach's mentality in the body of a world-class athlete. Any questions as to why he's on the list? Number 12 is going to play a huge role in his team's success. It isn't out of the realm of possibility to say that he might even be a little bit underrated. I know it seems far-fetched to say that about a preseason All-American pick, but I'm not sure people realize just what a huge year he's in for, Greg.
Awumi
is going to have his own personal highlight reel by the end of this season.
He returns as his team's number 1 scorer. His game is complete, and all he has to do is find a way to stay consistent through the season, and he'll easily be one of the top scorers in the nation.
Now let's move on to the second-team All-Americans. Not such a bad list, huh?
Kanji was close to a spot on the first team, but there was too much competition this season. It's extremely rare to see a true freshman on this list, but he has the kind of all-around talent that comes along once in a generation. I just hope he realizes his full potential. Ford is in the spotlight for all the right reasons. He can make things happen on the basketball court thanks to his unique ability to read and understand defenses, while most players are just trying to come up with their next move. He's 3 steps ahead of the game, and that's what separates the good players from the great. Zollner
Is at the crux of his team's postseason hopes.
He was a monster on the glass last season.
He came away with an average of 5 rebounds a game. That's just another aspect of his game that I expect to get better this season, and that's frightening to even think about. Barrett is one of the great talents in the college game today. If I had to pick some front runners for the Player of the Year award, he would be right there on the list. I've seen him take over games even when he isn't scoring 30. There are some great scorers among these All-Americans, and he's one of them, but he does much more than score. Blair is ready to have a breakout season. He was his team's leading rebounder a year ago, and he looks poised to claim that title again this year. He brings unbelievable physicality to the court and plays a tough, intense brand of basketball.
All right, Clark, thanks very much. Glad you could join us for the 2K Sports Season Preview. We hope you enjoy all the college hoops action ahead. So long, everyone.
Welcome back, everyone. Another fun season preview show with some surprises, like Kentucky topping the preseason top 25, and the only A-10 team in the top 25 was St. Louis, who was a top 5 squad and naturally the heavy favorites to win the Atlantic 10 this year. They also have Josh Puente in the preseason All-American first team, so gonna have to watch out for him again. But we did take the game last year against the Billikens in the regular season, so we'll see if we can do the same later on this year. The Penn State Nittany Lions are the first team on the menu this season, and check this out. Fordham improves by 4 overall points. Last year we were in 81 and now in 85, and we're the favorites over a Big Ten opponent to begin season 5. The top talent on this Lions roster is Tyree Copeland, a 6'11 big coming off a productive 11.2 block per game junior season. This is a Penn State team widely picked to finish near the bottom of the Big Ten due to their lack of team unity. 6 underclassmen see ample playing time, but the Nittany Lions could stay competitive today with their 2 6'11 bigs that start together. They could give Lloyd Hicks a hard time to begin a sophomore campaign. I'm honestly pretty shocked to see the Bryce Jordan Center have so many empty seats on opening night, as you can see for yourself right here. I got a lot of friends who go to PSU, and even when the teams aren't so good, football, basketball, whatever the case may be, they have great turnouts in every sport. It's a pretty rabid fan base up there. By the way, if you didn't know about me personally, OHIO, but that's a topic for a different time. Here we go, season 5. Let's get it underway as Lloyd Hicks wins tip number 1,000,000. It feels like nobody can out-jump him at the pregame tip off, but our first possession of season 5 is now underway. Let's get things going, guys. Nice to have the entire core back for another season, including this man right here, our top returning leading scorer, Kaya Hendry, 14.5 points in his sophomore campaign. Really saw his game become a lot more fleshed out and all around in his sophomore campaign. He finished 7th in the A-10 in assists, and he finally had that awesome breakout game and a big one. He had 19 in the loss against Syracuse in March Madness. There's Tyree Copeland for Penn State's first points on their side of things tonight. As Penn State, they're definitely going to have to play their offense through their talented big man Copeland, Pinkala, Carter to Hendry as he scores now the first 5 points for the Fordham Rams offense here in season number 5 as well. We played 5 major conference teams last year, 4 in the regular season, 1 in March Madness, and we actually had a pretty tough win-loss record against those 5 teams. I'll get back to that in a second, though, as Bennett Pinkala drops it in off the pick and roll, battling Copeland inside, but he gets the one up on him on this point. So very nicely done there as Pinkala, though. And not only him, but he was a big catalyst in how bad our free throw shooting was last year. It was one of our weakest points as a team. He was under 50%, and we were one of the worst teams from the Charity Stripe in the A-10 a year ago. So that's something that's going to have to get better as we try to clean up some of the weaknesses here this season and finally make that elusive March Madness run here in year 5. Lloyd Hicks, though, receiving a double team early. Bounce pass, great vision, Pat Park for 3 as Fordham's offense is still continuing to fire on all cylinders here. Nicely done there by Lloyd Hicks. He was honestly one of the few guys who struggled in that Syracuse loss last year in March Madness, as now it's Junior Battle getting burned by Copeland here on the take from the elbow. But Hicks had a lot of zones that he faced there, obviously, against Syracuse. So he faces either zones and double teams a lot. That's, he's commanded a lot of attention in his short time as a college player, but gotta like what he's bringing. However, though, he's the reigning A10 freshman of the year. He checks out, though, in favor of Chen Li and, of course, Junior Battle here as we still hold a 2-point lead. Damian Carter, the now sophomore, gives it up here with 4 to shoot. Nick Jallo, the only new player on this Season 5 roster, has a chance to get into the box score for the first time as a Fordham Ram. Like I said, he's the only new acquisition for Coach Carter here in year 5. No graduates, but we added Jallo, a 77 overall, who is an Oregon State transfer. He's looking for a fresh start as he saw his playing time nearly cut in half as a sophomore over in Oregon State territory. He went from 14 minutes a game to 9.5. He decided to transfer, sat out a year, and now he's on the score sheet as a Fordham Ram for the first time. He thinks about it here too from 3. However, his arsenal is more predicated around his mid-range shot. Speaking of mid-range, it's missed there from 15 feet by Chen Li, but Lloyd Hicks cleans it up, puts it in, and now Hicks, the reigning A10 freshman of the year, has his first points on his sophomore campaign. Nice to see this whole young core back and getting plenty of playing time here in year 5. Copeland, bounce pass, tipped away by Timo Cruz as Dustin Black's been having a nice game off the bench. Want to show more highlights of him moving forward. He finds Hicks, he draws 2, so he kicks it back out to Nick Jallo, whose offensive repertoire is more predicated around his 15-foot jump shot and slashing abilities. He hits a big 3 right there, and he's already got 7 points as a Fordham Ram here in his first half as a Fordham Ram member. 35-26, 3:43 left to go, looking for a big win here on opening nights up in State College. Pat Park looking for the roll man off the elbow screen. Lloyd Hicks, powerful move, can't finish. Rebound again, fighting inside, he gets 2 more. And for the first time today, the Fordham Rams have their double-digit lead. And I wanted to talk a little bit more about Dustin Black, as I talked about moments ago, forcing his 3rd steal of the game, and the momentum continues to build here as the first half dwindles down minute by minute. Fordham taking full control of this game thanks to their defense, their transition game, and their work and their inside-out approach on offense. So like I said earlier, we played 5 games against top conference teams last year. We split 2 games against Notre Dame, a loss at Michigan State, a loss at NC State, and then that loss in March Madness against Syracuse as Pat Park misses the layup, but guess who's there to clean it up? 45 points as a team. Lloyd Hicks with an explosion all of a sudden. Took him over half of the first half to score. Now he's got 12, and we're heading into this break well in control of this game. But yeah, 1-4 last year against top conference opponents. We're trying to do better this time around in that aspect. Trying to score a win here on opening night against Penn State. 1 second to shoot. Pat Park, tough shot, but it rolls in. And we enter the break on a huge run with our offense looking unstoppable. We barely missed in that first half, and we enter the break up 47-29. It was close for a while there, but then we ended the half on a 30-14 run, shooting 75%, making 3 out of every 4 shots. That will not be sustained, not by any means, but it's still a great way to open up this season, and you could tell this young core was dying to get back out on the hardwood together, with Lloyd Hicks leading us with 12. Copeland's also got 12 to lead the Nittany Lions. It's been awesome, though, to see everyone getting in the offensive fun, though. Hicks has 12, Pat Park's got 9, Hendry's made some shots, Dustin Black's got 7 and 3 steals. So everyone, man, they're really... Everyone's getting in on the fun. Nick Jallo had 7 as well as, look at this though, Tyree Copeland will still try to do all he can to keep his Nittany Lions competitive, getting the better of Lloyd Hicks on the positioning battle that time. 3 minutes elapsed here in the second half. Still looking to stay in control of this one as Damian Carter has a big man on him. This is Eric Coblin, a 4-star freshman from Philly. Let's see if we can break him down and get by him. Damian Carter puts on the cross. Nice floater. Oh, that was almost a highlight reel play. No good, but nobody is there to cover the weak side. 16 for Hicks as his first game as a sophomore continues to go extremely well. He can do no wrong tonight despite going up against two 6'11" bigs on Penn State that start together. Another stop on defense. Inside, high post, Hendry. He's been a little quiet since making the first 5 points, but he's still been, pretty decent in all areas. This one's rotated to Pat Park. It was supposed to be a design play for Kai Hendry off the ball reversal, but bad communication there as Pat Park came off an off-ball screen and nobody picked him up. Just another stupid error by Penn State tonight. They're on the defensive end that time. And now we're under 7 minutes to go, well in control of this game. It's an 18-point deficit as Dustin Black continues to enjoy an awesome day. 21 points for Lloyd Hicks as he drops in 2 more to go along with his 10 rebounds, as you can see here to the left side of that little those columns right there. 21 and 10, a dominating double-double as Lloyd Hicks, who was honestly the only Fordham man that struggled in that Syracuse loss last year in March Madness, makes up for it. And then Nick Jallo and the rest of the bench still having some success here. Dustin Black's 3rd assist to go along with his 3 steals and 7 points. Jallo's got 11, and that was kind of a play that you'd expect him to do more of. I mean, he made a jumper, a couple of threes there in that first half, but that's kind of the impact we're looking for more out of him on paper. Trying to get out on the break. He's really fast. He's got a good mid-range. In fact, if you look at his feet as he makes another one, he's got 13 now, and now a steal. Just continue to pouring it on. He's actually got the crosshairs under his feet, meaning that he's an awesome mid-range shooter, and he scores 13 in his debut game off the bench. And look at this, Fordham, all smiles all around, 72-53. And as in dominating fashion, we improved to 1-0 on the 5th year of this series. 21 and 10 for Lloyd Hicks, 10 of 14 from the floor. Let's ignore some of the free throw shooting. I guess we still need to improve in that category, but everywhere you look, you got guys putting up good performances. Hendry, 2 threes, Pat Park with 14 and 2 steals, Jallo with 13, not missing a shot in his Ram debut. Dustin Black, talked about him numerous times, doing things on both ends of the floor. Yep, this is about as sweet as it gets right here. And even after having a pretty unsustainable first half where we shot 75%, still had a pretty solid second half as well. So a huge win to begin year 5, but why not add more good news to the beginning of this season? As we turn our focus to the recruiting board, we have some modest yet exciting news to bring to you. The big recruiting storyline headed into year 5 was the interest radiating from not just 1, but 2 5-star prospects this season. Yeah, we've come a long way from that 6-20 season 1. So the bottom line is we have 3 scholarships at the fingertips of Coach Carter this season, as Dustin Black, Chen Lee, and KJ Bigsby will all move on after the year. And Coach Carter has officially offered to both 5-star prospects that top our board. Melvin Brewer, a top 25 player in the class, receives the offer, which furthers our lead on him over St. John's and defending national champ Seton Hall. Not only would he become our first 5-star recruit and further the needle of our team, but Coach Carter will also receive an attribute point for securing his first said 5-star. Lucian Jedic also receives a scholarship offer, a JUCO prospect who looks like the complete package. We need to catch up to Florida, so I figured that an offer thrown his way can help close the gap, considering that they've offered already heading into the year. The home opener against an inferior St. Francis team would normally be a game that I'd skim through or skip altogether. However, this matchup presents us a storyline that we may never see again on this channel. As the Terriers travel from Brooklyn, 2 brothers will battle in the trenches tonight in our first home game of year 5. True freshman Daywin Pinkala will go toe-to-toe with his older brother, our Bennett Pinkala, in what should be an entertaining showdown in the paint tonight. In case you guys are newer to the series, we discovered Daywin recruiting another prospect, and when we checked out his credentials, he had the same last name, similar physicals, same hometown, similar looks. I've honestly never seen something like this before. It was just all too close to Bennett. It had to be his brother or something, so I definitely wanted to add Daywin to the lore of this series. And to mark this special occasion, I'm actually going to be player locking Bennett Pinkala in our home opener in my player type of fashion. We do these from time to time on the series. It looks like Bennett and Daywin will be matched up tonight, so this should be a fun one. we're back in the Rose Hill Gym as two brothers will be reunited on the hardwood tonight. So I got Bennett player locked, and I got him matching up with Daewin tonight. It should be a lot of fun in this one as we force a stop on our first defensive possession. And then Bennett, not hesitating whatsoever, Pat Park drew the defender underneath the basket to him on the break, and then Pinkala just rolls to the rim. Doesn't get much easier than that as we score the first 4 points of the contest. But then Daewin pins Hendry's shot off the glass. His first block of the game, and that'll open up the floor for the Terriers to score their first points from the free throw line. 6-1 game now as they drop back into a zone. Hendry for 3, it's off the front iron, but then Pinkala rips it away from a Terrier inside and then puts in 2 points over top of his younger brother. This was like way too crazy to me. Just to see how similar these guys were, you know, it was kind of like by chance I found Daewin too, because he was a teammate of another guy we were recruiting. I don't remember who it was, maybe Dwight Howard. I can't really remember, but all in all, it was just way too crazy. There's so many similarities between them beyond this their last name, as they both check out here and one of the first breaks in the action. So we'll cut to black, and we're back at the scorer's table, ready to come back in, up by 10 with 4:47 to go. As both brothers check back in. But they're both 6'9". Bennett's 2 years older as a junior versus a freshman. Bennett also has 22 more pounds on Daewin as well. Daewin had 10 points in his college debut just a couple nights ago as he tries to get found on the cut right there, but it's taken away by Pat Park. And the offensive aggressiveness continues for our Bennetts as he beats everyone up the floor. He's not exactly the most fleet of foot kid, but good awareness there. Seeing the play before it happened and being one step ahead of the defense. So we're looking pretty good so far. This is kind of what I wanted. I wanted us to just, you know, take care of business, beat St. Francis pretty easily so we could just focus on the head-to-head matchup between Daewin and Bennett. And normally, honestly, I show highlights in these videos, but this is something that I wanted to show because it wasn't really a highlight. A pretty funny moment between the two brothers here as Pinkala tries to close out on Daewin and then falls over a cameraman, but still manages to force Daewin a step on the boundary line. I wish there was Shaqtin' a Fool for college basketball, because I could picture him watching this and being like, I don't know, number 1, Daewin Pinkala, Super Mario Brothers, or something like that. I don't know, just, that would be, yeah, I could see Shaq commentating over that play. That was just something funny I wanted to throw in there. I'm sure the parents of these two boys are having a funny laugh over that one, but immediately after, not too long after, we see Pinkala again scoring in the fast break. 8 first half points for Bennett, who's already halfway to his career high. He had 16 in a game last year. We'll see if he threatens that against his younger brother in this game, as Daewin's still not on the board until that little baby hook over his older brother. I'm sure they practiced that in the backyard plenty of times growing up. 31 versus 13. I bet you they do that on purpose as well. So both guys in the box score tonight, but Daewin's got some catching up to do, and so do the Terriers. 35-23 at the intermission. So Fordham in the driver's seat of this one as well. Another pretty good offensive showing. Another time that they're beating their opponent on the glass pretty hard. They've done that both games this year. Let's check out the Pinkala battle. We got Daewin with 2 and 4, and Bennett's got 8 and 2. As I wanted to highlight here, Pat Park, he's been the one who's had an awesome game so far. They can't stop him in transition. And even though we're focusing on the Pinkala matchup, I definitely wanted to show in a highlight there of Pat Park because he's been the top player on the game so far. 35-23 here on the first defensive possession. It's actually a design play for Daewin as he skates by Pinkala and company, and he makes his older brother look silly. So Bennett went for the pass, and then by the time he recovered, it was way too late. So now 4 points for Daewin. He's halfway to his older bro's total. And the Terriers are trying to get this game back into single digits. Weaver to Pinkala. Nicely done there as he beats Pat Park with the pump fake. Bennett rotated over for help side D, and Pinkala was perched right there at the top of the key. We saw him make a couple of jumpers in the ABL games as well. That's one of the reasons why I noticed him. And here we go with Pat Park trying to go baseline, but that one's a little bit forced, as now Daewin has block number 2, something that Bennett does not have in this game. So the box score total is looking a little bit more even. And look at this, he makes him look silly yet again. Just between you and me, I actually didn't pump fake on that one. Sometimes when you play defense in this game, they make you fall for a pump fake. I'm not really sure why, but now both guys got 8, but Pat Park, he puts this thing right back up to 10 points as he's up to 13 on the game right now. Came down the court, just jacked up a 3. He's been enjoying a fun home opener in this one. Looks like Pinkala's back on the boards. He's been pretty aggressive here in this one. Nice outlet pass as well to our best free throw shooter in the starting 5. Damian Carter gets fouled, and he will be making 2 of 2 from the line. And this opportunity, so things got a little scary there for a second. The Terriers got down by 7, but thanks to some good rebounding and some good transition basketball, we're right back in control of this game as this one's knocked out by Pat Park, and we reach the break in the action where Bennett will hit the sideline for a little bit of action. 8:45 to go. Whenever we check out, we come back in with only a couple minutes remaining. Kaya Hendry's been a guy who I wanted to highlight a little bit. He's been struggling a little bit here. He didn't really have the big day against Penn State like we thought he would. And in this game, he was a little bit slow getting going as he's only made a third of his shots. But he's got 11 timeout Terriers, and both brothers coming back in for, let's see, well, we got 4:22 left to go in this one. This one's already been pretty much decided as Pinkala just misses out on an assist there to Nick Jallo. It turns out he can miss shots. I didn't think that was possible after his electric opener. Here we go to the low post again. A little shimmy with the offhand. It's Daewin for 2. That is one difference between the two brothers. Bennett is a lefty and Daewin is a righty, but he does make good on the offhand post move. But how about this on the other end of the floor? We beat the Terriers press as Pat Park makes yet another highlight reel play, dishing this one off to the trailer. The good players always know where the trailers are, and Bennett Pinkala puts in 2 more points to further cement this victory and continue to close the book on this very fun night. 68-50, Pat Park jumper, got a hand on it. That's Weaver, who's been the top scorer for the Terriers on the night, but Pinkala gets it back. Hendry for 2, more good defense by Weaver, but again on the glass, it's Bennett Pinkala who draws the foul from his younger brother. That's his second personal, and if Bennett can make 2 free throws here, that'd be a pretty perfect way to end off the night. So you see the reserves coming to the scorer's table. They come in. If he just makes this one, he can check out to a standing ovation. His free throw shooting, man, it's got to get better. It's got to get better. That would have been a perfect way to end off this game, but Pinkala stays on the floor for a couple more minutes, but momentarily, we would call timeout and sub out number 13 as well after a pretty solid performance against his younger brother. 72-54 is your final on a very fun and unique home opener for us where Pat Park starred. 16 points, half of his shots went in, 6 rebounds, 3 steals, 3 dimes, including that beautiful one of the best passes I've seen in this series to this point. And yeah, that was the pass that got Bennett into double figures. He finishes with 11, 8, 3, and a steal, 5 of 5 from the floor. But we also had 3 more starters in double figures as well. A pretty complete showing from this Fordham Rams team as we check on how his younger brother did. How did Daewin stack up? He definitely held his own, you gotta admit. 12 and 9, 2 blocks, 5 for 7 from the floor. Yeah, this was a fun one, and I could definitely see myself matching up against St. Francis later on in the series. I mean, it's got to probably be next year considering that Bennett's a senior next year, so maybe we go up to their gym in Brooklyn and we play them next season. Anyway, it's a 2-0 start for Fordham. Gotta love the way that we're playing right now. Rebounding's been excellent, shooting's been superb, and we're going to try to take that momentum into our preseason tournament where we open up against another Big Ten opponent a game that we're actually an underdog in against the Illinois Fighting Illini. Unfortunately, as we fly out to Hawaii for the Maui Invitational, we couldn't get lucky with the roll. You know, we couldn't play Southern or Harvard. Nope, we had to get Illinois. And if we win, we're probably going to be playing the 11th ranked Virginia Tech Hokies, who I don't think they won a national championship in the series, but I think they were runner-up one year, either to Georgia Tech, maybe, I forget, but I know they were in the national title game at one point in this series. But all in all, this is going to be a tough one out in Hawaii, We're dealing with the time change, you know, way different time zone. So the jet lag is going to be a factor. And then we're also dealing with some pretty good teams that will also be flying out there as well for the Maui Invitational, hosted by the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. It's going to be a fun one. I can't wait to hop into that preseason tournament. My goal is just to win the Illinois game. I just want to get out of the first round and hopefully give Virginia Tech a game, but the Fighting Illini are a higher overall team than us, so it's gonna be the first time this season that we're the underdogs. Let's see how we manage that in the next episode. So my name is College Sports Survived. I'm signing out. This was a really fun episode to make with the crazy storylines and awesome shooting performances against Penn State and the brothers going at it. This was a fun one. Hope the next one's even better, so stay tuned for that one. We battle Illinois in the Maui Invitational next time around. So I'll see you guys then.